Today we celebrate the great St. Charles Borromeo. He was one of the reformers, and as you know, the best reformers were those who didn't reform others, but began by reforming themselves. And he especially was pronounced in the final years of the Council of Trent. He belonged to the Milanese nobility and was related to the Medici family as well. But he decided to dedicate himself to the church, and his uncle, Cardinal de' Medici, was elected Pope Pius IV. And guess what? He made Charlie Cardinal Deacon and administrator of the whole Archdiocese of Milan. Only at the time, Charles was still a layman and a young student. But because of his intellectual qualities, Charles was entrusted with several important offices connected with the Vatican and later appointed Secretary of State. The untimely death of his elder brother brought him to a definite decision to be ordained a priest, in spite of his relatives always yakking and complaining that he should get married. But soon after being ordained at age 25, guess what? He was made Bishop of Milan. He worked behind the scenes and deserves credit for keeping the Council of Trent in session when it was on the verge of breaking up. He encouraged the Pope to renew the council after it had been suspended for 10 years and took upon himself the task of the entire correspondence during the final phase. Eventually, Charlie was allowed to devote his time to the Archdiocese of Milan, where the religious and moral picture was far from bright. The reform needed in every phase of Catholic life among both clergy and laity was initiated at a provincial council of the bishops under him. There were specific regulations for bishops and other clergy. If people were to be converted to a better life, Borromeo had to be the first to give a good example. Oh, isn't that original? Charles took the initiative in giving a good example. He allotted most of his income to charity, forbade himself all luxury, and imposed severe penances upon himself. He sacrificed wealth, high honors, esteem, and influence to become poor. During the plague and famine of 1576, he tried to feed 60,000 to 70,000 people each and every day. And to do this, he borrowed large sums of money that required years to pay back. Whereas the civil authorities fled at the height of the plague, he stayed in the city where he ministered to the sick and the dying, helping those in want. All this work and the heavy burdens of his office began to affect his health, and eventually he died at the ripe old age of 46. Charles Borromeo, he was an imitator of Christ, and that's why we honor him today, because of his dedication and devotion and his holiness and his fidelity. Fidelity is the word. God bless you.